So in this video, I'll be introducing you to JSX components and props. So what is JSX? JSX simply means JavaScript XML and is an extension that allows us to write HTML-like code within JavaScript. It's commonly used in React applications to define the structure and appearance of the user interface. Now, JSX combines the power of JavaScript with the simplicity and expressiveness of HTML-like syntax. So it's easy for you to pick up React having learned HTML. So let's write some simple JSX here. As you can see, I have the project open from our last video where we set up our development environment and created my app project using create React app. So we have React and TypeScript of our project here. That's why you can see that the extension here is app.csx. So let's write some JSX here. The first thing we'll have to do here is to write a type for the component we are creating. And this is how we'll do that. JSX.element. Now this is how we define a type for something. In this case, our React component. So what we have here already is JavaScript. As you can see, we have div, which is HTML syntax, but we are using this within our JavaScript function. So this is basically what JSX means. Now that we know what JSX means, what are components? Now, components are the building blocks of React application, meaning that a React application composes of so many components coming together to form the user interface. Now, we have two types of components. We have the functional component and the class component. But in this course, we'll be using functional components. Now, in the code we have here, we have a functional component called app. And this returns a div containing our text, hello world. And so our component here has JSX in it. Now, JSX allows us to structure our components in a way that's familiar to anyone with HTML experience. So once you just know HTML, you can be able to write JSX. So we can also write other things here like this. Or we can say welcome to my app. And if we save that, we'll be able to see welcome to my app in the browser. Now remember, we are running this with npm run start. And we are running in the browser on localhost 3000. So now that we know what JSX and components are, the next thing we'll deal with is props. So what are props? Props is how components communicate with each other. Now think of props as parameters for components. You know, when writing JavaScript functions, the way you use parameters. So that's the way props are for React components. So let's write some props for our component here. Now let's create another component above here and we'll call it welcome. And we'll accept props into that component and display a greeting. And we would use that component in our app component here. So let's do that. And we'll be using the arrow function. Let me show you how to use the arrow function here to create components. Now I want to display a message here that will say welcome and the name which will pass into the component as props. The name that will pass into the welcome component as props. So to do that, we'll have to accept props inside our welcome components. But before we do that, we'll have to add what we call an interface in TypeScript that will define the type of props we're accepting into our welcome component. We'll call it welcome props. And we'll accept it here, props of type welcome props. As you can see here, the name of our component is always starting with capital letter. Here we define an interface with a prop that we're accepting into the welcome component, and it is name, and the kind of prop we'll be accepting, the type of prop we'll be accepting is a string. And then we accept props here of type welcome props. So we can use that here like this with a bracket. I'll say props dot name. So now we'll use our welcome component in our app components, and this is how we can do that. Now we are using our welcome components inside our app component, but as you can see, we have an error here that says property name is missing. So for us to fix that, we'll have to add the name which we want to be displayed in the welcome component. So I'll just say the name is homage. And if we save that, if we go to the browser, we'll be able to see welcome homage. If we change the name to ty, if we go to the browser, we'll be able to see welcome ty. So now we're accepting these props of type welcome props into our welcome component. So wherever we use our welcome component, whatever we pass as name will be what will be displayed in the browser. So we can also reuse this again, and I'll just copy and paste it here. And this time I'll say welcome Fred. And if I save that, you can see that we can use this same component in multiple places, passing in different props at different instances. So you can see that props makes our components dynamic and reusable. So to recap, in this video, we covered the basic of JSX. We covered components, what components are, and then props in React. And we also showed how to create a type or an interface for a particular prop that we're accepting. So these are essential concepts that will help you build powerful and dynamic user interfaces. See you in the next video.